TRC from France, and this is my wildcard for the BEATLAND 2026 solo category entry Beatbox Online Bali.
Ooh. So he switched. He did not go immediately into his routine. I remember, let me share a little bit of context about TRC. I remember TRC's wild card for the GBB, and I remember that he sounded underdeveloped with his elements. There's just no power there, and they didn't really hit in terms of consistency and loud projection, but I remember being the most impressed with his storytelling and the way he brought up his composition. It was a story about prisoners or something, right? There was real sentiment to it, in my opinion, and it was real different from other contestants. And so I remember that wild card, and I remember thinking this guy has very high potential. I'm not sure if he's necessarily going to specialize in the battling format, but I'm curious what he has composed for this wild card. I believe this is his strong point. Also, from what we've heard, he just did this one bass sound on the microphone, and I picked it up on the headphones. The audio is, I expect the audio to be really quality, to have real high quality, because in his GBB wildcard he did it acoustically, I believe, and I don't know, in a space also that did not play into his advantage as well. And so I'm curious how it's gonna sound now and what he's cooked for us. This is one that I am especially looking forward to. And before I dive into it, guys, I want to encourage you to use the Buy Me a Coffee link if you want to suggest anything. I see some suggestions in the comments here and there about wildcards or content. Please use the Buy Me a Coffee link. There's a $5 option, so it's a fair deal. And let's dive into it. Let's dive into Everyone's Watching by TRC.
Something feels ominous, like a presence lurking, watching, staring, judging everything you do. Might not be obvious.
Is this post-processed? Is it post-processed audio? Barkov. It should be post-processed, I guess, since there's somebody accredited for the audio. It does feel post-processed.
Why should I change my style? No.
That's the highest, that's the best vocal capability I've heard. I think so. In this very moment, I think that this is the highest vocal capability I've heard in the beatboxing community. He just shredded that right there. One more time, please.
Why should I change my style? No. I might not wanna fit inside a box that's made for me. I just wanna be myself until I disappear. 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 I've been grinding for a moment, trying to reach my summum. Can you hear me? Sometimes I just wonder, is anybody listening to my music?
His pitching is ridiculous.
Catching up to me. I just wish I had security. Like a presence lurking, watching, judging everything you do. Everyone's watching you. Everyone's watching you. Check this out.
Alright guys,
wants what?
there's a huge conflict in his art form, in my opinion. As a beatboxer, he is what the new generations you guys would call mid, in my opinion. There's no real power in the drums, in the patterns. There is some complexity skill. He's very capable of achieving certain complexity and technicality in some pockets, right, in some areas. So he's able to showcase some skill for complexity. The singing could be the best, possibly the best I've heard in the beatboxing community. The storytelling also possibly the best I've heard in the beatboxing community. And I'm a beatbox lover, so I don't know, since could be like 18 years, 20 years, something like that. 17, 18 years, 16, I'm not sure, around that mark for now. And it's a very impressive talent we have here. But the beatboxing, he has pushed a lot of his chips, a lot of his eggs in that one basket of vocal capability. But the beatboxing itself, it's not on par with the best in the game. Far from it. For me, this is not a top 50 beatboxer at this stage, right? And that's just to kind of give you some idea of how I feel about his beatboxing ability. But the storytelling is very impressive. The pitching, amazing, right? This is even, well, I'm not sure if it's better than the, for me, if it's better than his GBB wildcard. That was also very sentimental, like the emotion. This guy's a great writer. The structure is amazing, but when it comes to beatboxing, it's singing, and it gets weird. By weird, I mean it becomes difficult to connect to, right? So you make it very hard to connect to the composition because you're trying to like showcase the complexity skills. And so he's singing, and you expect maybe a simplistic rhythm or one powerful sound or two powerful sounds with a defined drum kit or something, and then he does all the.
Should I change my style? No.
This is crazy, right? But I'll tell you what part I kind of find weird.
I might not wanna fit inside a box you've made for me. I just wanna
I
be
love
myself.
the substance, the context of the lyrics. It's amazing. It's depth. There's depth to it. I love it.
I just wanna be myself until I disappear.
This is weird as fuck, right? We can agree that for the standard listener, this is weird as shit. Right? You have to make something more concrete, more defined than and more simplistic. You don't have to, but that's my advice as a long-term listener, right? Because this might be able to connect with somebody that's like very specific into appreciating things that are like difficult to perceive or whatever. But for the general listener, this is very hard to connect to. Right? It's like, right? That's what it looks like to me. But because there's no strong ongoing theme that you're building on, right? There's a lot of showcasing. It feels like I can do this, I can do all these sounds, but the theme is not consistent. If you can understand what I'm saying. Vocal is crazy.
I've been grinding for a moment, trying to reach my summum. Can you hear me?
Very artistic
Sometimes I
person.
just wanna
This is a
eat.
very artistic person, very capable person.
Is anybody listening to my music? My demons are catching up to me. I just wish I had security. Like a presence lurking, watching, judging everything you do. Everyone's watching you. Everyone's watching you.
Also, one more negative thing that I kind of have to say, apart from this, for me that feels like, hey guys, I'm a great singer and I can also beatbox, because like for me the beatboxing is in secondary, feels like a secondary attribute to this composition in a way. But one more thing that I have to say in general is no amount of makeup will substitute the lack of clarity in the elements that you're producing. So for example, if you add this whatever negative effect, video effect on the, it doesn't make it more special in my opinion, right? Because you have to focus on the audio, right? It's not, it doesn't make it more special just because you make it blink. It's throwing off the audio listener and it creates a different effect rather than a puristic effect. So this is makeup for me personally, and I personally am not into that, right? You can play with the video as much as you want, but that's just a little touch that you need. I don't think he overdid it by any means, but I'm just kind of communicating what I feel like when it comes to combining video effects with wildcards. Wildcards for me should be puristically focused on the beatboxing capability, and not a lot of makeup should be allowed, because you can't carry this over on the beatboxing stage. If you qualify to the Beatland event, I'm not sure if this is online or live, you cannot carry this effect. When you perform live, let's say this is the GBB stage, when you perform live and when you do, the stage is not gonna blink, you know, there's no video effect to make up for your beatboxing ability, right? That's what I'm saying. So when there's gonna be the audio dynamics that are fixed by the audio engineering team of the event, and that's gonna serve in your purpose and emphasize your beatboxing capabilities, right? So we're gonna get to enjoy the beatboxing craft on enhanced audio, which is amazing. But these little effects, you can try to like leave an impression to the listeners by doing all these video effects and the post-processing in the audio, but then you won't be able to carry this over live, right? When you're live, there's no blinks, there's no video effects, there's nobody to post-process the audio in a way that you want it to be post-processed, right? So I feel like this format should be focused on more pure expression of the beatboxing art, and should focus more on beatboxing, right? Now I'm not saying this was like a singing submission or anything. It did have a lot of beatbox in it, but in general it feels like he's doing way too much, and it needs to be simplified, to put it shortly. So guys, I'm not trying to be too much of an asshole here. Obviously I'm ranting for 14 minutes going into this is because I care about this craft a lot, and I see a huge potential here, and I recognize a huge potential here, and so I believe that he's going to be able to do great things maturing into the future as a beatboxer. And so this is the whole point of my feedback, is to kind of contribute to his growth as a beatboxer, because I really like this guy. I like what TRC, I like his authenticity, his creativity, a real talent. He's French, typically artistic, right? Representing his country for what it is, a very artsy, artistic, flavorful country, right? So that's all I have to say, pretty much, right? In terms of ranking, I still have Vocoder, aka Audicle, as #1 for me personally. I don't know if I would not rate this as top 5. I think just because of how overcomplicated it is right now. I would not rate it as top 5. I think so. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. This might be appreciated. The whole point, what matters is that this is appreciated and ranked by the right people that judge this competition. The official judges might rank this way higher, might rank this as number 1 or whatever, but that's not what I think about the composition. However, I do wish you best of luck, TRC, and shout out to TRC. Good luck going forward. Thank you guys for watching. Check out my music. I also make electronic music, so feel free to criticize me or love what I'm doing with my music or anything. And I'll see you in the next video, guys.